You know, back when I was a kid, I lived on a 160-acre farm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and our parents taught us at a young age how to work. I started cutting firewood, helping my dad when I was 13 years old, loading it up. He'd do all the chainsaw work, and finally started letting me run the chainsaw. I was about 14 and a half years old. I got pretty good at it. Did a lot of splitting the firewood. I split a lot of kindling. And what you're seeing right now is the way I learned how to split kindling. It works, but it's really not the safest way to do it. If you think about it, swinging a sharp object at a small object that you're holding with your fingers is generally not a very good idea. It eventually caught up to me, and across my index finger on my right hand, I did miss that little skinny piece of wood I was making into kindling and cut clean to the bone, and I ended up getting some stitches right alongside that first knuckle. I can tell you it wasn't that pleasant. Now, I learned at a pretty young age not to stick your fingers in places they don't belong, where it's really dangerous. And we're not talking about the cookie jar. I know there's people out there that would say, well, you know, parents shouldn't let kids do stuff like that at that age. Or it's just some stupid kid, you know, 15-year-old being dangerous. The only problem with that blanket statement is that firewood cutting in itself is dangerous. Using any kind of axe, any kind of power tools, whether it be a chainsaw, even construction tools, they're all inherently dangerous. So yes, you do need proper training. You need to be careful in everything you do. That being said, I can tell you I've been an outdoorsman all my life, and the majority of my friends are outdoorsmen. To be honest with you, most of them split their kindling just the way I was showing you earlier. I'm one of those people that enjoyed watching the Alone series, and I can remember the second season, there was some gal, her name I believe was Mary Kate. She was cutting some kindling with a hatchet, and she did just that. She made a swing, it bounced, it cut right below her thumb, close to her wrist, and she had to be medevaced off and taken off the program. And these people that actually make the Alone program are chosen out of thousands of people that try out for it. You would think they would be safe in everything they do, but that's not necessarily so. It's the way they were taught, it's the way they do things. Back when the survival shows first got popular, there were two shows out there that most people watched. It was Survivor Man with Les Stroud, and it was Bear Grylls, Man versus Wild. Now, Les Stroud went through everything pretty much methodical, slow, took his time. He did things pretty much safe. Bear Grylls, on the other hand, he liked to showboat. He thought it was great to run downhill as fast as he could, jump from rock to rock, doing all this stuff, showing all his talents. And he was talented. But trust me, if you're ever lost in the wild, you don't run out like Bear Grylls. You'll end up dead somewhere, and they'll find your bones a few years later. One thing I learned to do after that experience of cutting my hand, every time I cut a piece of kindling, I'll take a stick, I'll put it out to the side, take my hatchet, go down on it like that, and there's absolutely no chance of cutting your fingers that way. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to build a little tool to help me split kindling. What I'm going to build is definitely not my idea. You can buy these things in various styles on Amazon and other places, and they range anywhere from about $40 on up to, some of them's close to $120, even a little more. But there's a wide range of prices and designs. I'm going to build one that I like. It's fairly inexpensive to build. I'm going to go ahead and build one of these kindling splitters with some things I have here around the shop. So if you want to follow along, you can see how to build one of these. I think this door off my old wood stove is going to come in handy. Let's see what we can do with it. We got this little notch out. That is 5 inches. So I'm going to take it this way 5 inches for a 5 by 5 square. Doesn't have to be exact, but just close. Close enough for government work. Whenever I find cheap tools at a yard sale, I like to buy them. I've had this hatchet for about 6 or 7 years. I paid $2 for that at a yard sale. I have a bunch of other hatchets, something with some kind of a blade, a hatchet. You can use $2, isn't much to spend on it. So I'll just buy it, put it in a toolbox, and it may sit there for a while till I have a use for it. And today I have a use for it. Like I said, this is not rocket science. I just need to drill 4 holes in this. Nice thing about this is your hand is up out of the way of the blade. Use a small handheld sledge and you just knock the wood onto the blade instead of the blade onto the wood with your hand in the way. So this is a pretty safe unit. I took a piece of PVC, heated it up, bent it, put some rivets in it. That goes over it so you can't cut yourself if it's set out there, or you can just unbolt it and put it back in your shop when it's not in use. Well, that's it. That's my homemade kindling splitter. Like I said earlier, between the yard sale hatchet and the 4 lag bolts, I've got less than $5 in this thing. Now, I'd much rather make one myself and show you how it's done than go out and buy one. A lot of my friends tell me that I'm good at doing everything. Well, I'm going to tell you something straight up. That's not true. What it is I'm not afraid to try to do something. And I can tell you, if you're not afraid to try things, you'd be surprised how much you can accomplish and how much you can actually do. And you can take a lot of satisfaction in knowing you did it yourself. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave them in the comment section. I'd love to answer you. Maybe you have something you'd like to try out and do yourself, but not quite sure how to do it. Tell me about it. Heck, I might try it myself just to do it. Don't ever be afraid to fail. Failure is the world's best teacher. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and share it with someone else who may enjoy it. Put it on your favorite social media page for all your friends to see. Check out some of my other stuff. If you like those, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. Make your life an adventure, and God bless.